All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. We'll get into the charts, looking for trade ideas for next week. So give me an audio check. Just let me know if you guys can hear me, and then I'll jump right in. I'm going to go for probably about 45 minutes today. Maybe not quite as long. I got a couple things to do this morning. So we're going to focus in on, I'll look at triple Qs. Obviously, you know, I always look at that because it contains the market leading stocks, the big cap tech stocks. Everyone knows those are important in terms of just the mathematical weighting of the indexes, and they're, you know, so those large cap tech stocks influence where a lot of those ETFs and indexes go, which in turn can, you know, influence where the rest of the market goes. So we'll look at those, and We will go ahead and look at gold. Obviously, is interesting. Actually, I'm going to start off with gold here today. The big thing, this is gold bullion. I'm looking at the weekly chart, and I did point this out to the private member group, but I didn't really put anything in a video about it. So right there, look at that close right there on weekly close. Now we closed pretty much at kind of this resistance level. I'm looking back on the weekly, and I got to clean this chart up because it's obviously like a large time frame, but excuse me, I have to sneeze. But when I look at this, I can see the there's your weekly close there. You know, there's resistance, and we're pretty much right there at resistance. So that's something to watch out for. I think we'll probably maybe get a day or two pullback. There's likely going to be some sellers here because, again, the algos and stuff, they just program this is resistance, sell at resistance, and then but I think that'll get bought up, to be honest. We're going to see. Looking at the daily chart here, if I roll out, you can see there it is, resistance, several reactions there, and we closed pretty much right there at resistance. So if I see a breakout, if we get a breakout above this, as long as there's no negative divergence, and I can't see any on the daily chart right now. I mean, you can see the RSI just kind of made a new higher high. PPO is not quite there, but the RSI looks like it's, it's pretty extended, but I definitely could see, the RSI doesn't look like we have divergence. So a breakout here with no divergence is we're going to take that on face value. But we don't have that breakout yet, so that's what I'll be looking for next week. And then obviously, the gold stocks are all going to play into that as well. I mean, Newmont, I talked about this one being a pretty bullish chart for a while because, again, we had that bullish divergence there on the daily chart. We had this bullish falling wedge. I talked about, that was an objective area to buy at support with that bullish, or to buy on a breakout of resistance, which was basically that breakout right there, is objective as well. So I think we're likely going higher. The measured target for this one is the widest part of the wedge, and that's basically that. And then you take it at the point of the breakout, and that sets us up for a move up to around $50, $49.50 or so would be the measured target. So in general, I think we probably are gonna, that's what I would assume we're gonna get. Now it's gonna help obviously if gold breaks out, starts breaking out to new highs, and these miners might go crazy if we start seeing new highs in gold. They're pretty, they've been kind of slept on, I would say, for many years, so they could see some kind of, mania buying or something. We'll see. All right. Triple Qs, and then I'm going to get into what you guys want me to look at, and then we'll wrap up. So on triple Qs, all right, so if I look at the daily, I mean, we gapped up on, this was the CPI report, I believe, and then we've kind of gone nowhere for really since, middle of November, so a couple weeks. How many trading days is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about 12, 13 trading days, so a little over 2 weeks. We've kind of just been battling it out day in and day out. So I haven't been giving a whole lot of videos because there's just this battle going on where really tight ranges, and it's just selling off, the buyers step back in, and then it's just going nowhere. So I need to see some sort of direction in the market. Now we do have we have negative divergence on the daily. This is the big thing. So I'm looking for actually some downside here, but I need to see some sort of sell signal. Let me kind of clean this up and I'll just show you guys. This, all right, look, we've got a lower high in momentum, and that's the PPO, and then you'll see the RSI, there it is. Negative divergence, we made a new high in price. So we've got basically, there's your former high, here's your new high, but lower momentum. All right, and so, and it's really equal momentum, basically actually slightly lower there. Yeah, So even right there, if I marked the divergence from there, I could even do that, and it's still negative divergence. All right. So that is a divergent high, which would indicate that we're likely going to get sold into. We need a sell signal, some sort of a breakdown, rejection candle, bearish engulfing candle, something that tells us we're, some sort of a doji reversal candle with confirmation. That's what we're looking for. There is the potential for an island cluster top. You see the gap up right here, and we've got the cluster. And if we gap down, that would be an island cluster top. So we'll be on the lookout for that. If we get that, the way I trade them is you take the short. You can short it on the gap down. Just be aware what they like to do, though. Sometimes you'll get these. Let's say we gap down. All right, we're gonna have if that happens, we'll have an island cluster. So usually what you see is that's a short entry. That's a sell signal. So you take the short. It could move down. Sometimes they'll do a counter trend and run up and like try to fill the gap or something like that. Filling the gap doesn't necessarily negate the fact that you have an island cluster. You just don't really want to see. You don't want to see closes basically back within the cluster or especially above. All right. Here's the top of the cluster. Oh, sorry guys, I'm making a mess, but there's the top of the cluster. If you gapped, if you get a daily close above the top of that, then that would be where you'd probably stop out at. At least that's where I would stop out. So that'd be the trade setup. Take the short on the island cluster and stop out on a daily close above. If it's just slightly above, I'd probably hold on, but anything above, just a slightly above daily close, maybe up around this 390, 395, or yeah, that would be where I'd want to stop out. All right, and so the risk reward, I mean, in that situation, let's say we gap. It depends on where you gap down, but let's say that's about a 4% loss. All right, if you're going to set your stop just above that cluster, and that's if we gap down around where the former gap was at, roughly a 4% loss. But see, an island cluster reversal pattern is a large trend pattern. So that indicates a new trend. And so the trend has been, basically there's your uptrend, little correction, but we made the new higher high. So it would indicate that this whole uptrend is now starting the next down leg in the market. So risk reward's really good. 4% loss for a potential, let's just say if you head down to the October lows of 2022, 30% gain or so, and probably going to undercut those and make new lows. So 10 to 1 maybe, 8 to 1 risk reward ratio. That's really good. So that's all just potential. It's all hypothetical. But we do have that negative divergence indicating that we should be on the lookout for some sort of a reversal candlestick or sell signal soon. Doesn't mean that we can't pop up and make new highs. They could pop it up and put in a new high, but it should get sold into. And then let's look at these fangs, or the Magnificent Seven is what they're calling them now. Amazon, negative divergence. All right, so let me just you see right there. There's your negative divergence on Amazon. So we're making a new high in price, and we basically have, well, I don't know if I can actually say we have negative divergence on that one. We do have, here's your former high, though. You have a real high, high in momentum. We've actually been divergent. That's a divergent high. That's a divergent high. This, we can say, is still a divergent high. Until we make a new high in momentum, higher highs in price is divergence. And you also have the bearish PPO crossover. Let me zoom in here. There it is, right there. All right, so we've confirmed that divergence. So once again, I'd be on the lookout for a pullback, and then support is this uptrend line right there on the daily chart. Boom. So a pullback down to support would be the most probable scenario right now, and then the buyers will be at support. And then if you take out support, that's another sell signal. I don't know if that happens. I think you probably pull back and then you get a bounce. All right, Google. Let's look at the GOOGL. This one doesn't really have divergence because you haven't made a new higher high in price, but we are holding this downtrend here. So that's what I'm watching on this one, is just this downtrend. Yeah, so that one looks like some more downside, but again, could run up back up to the trend line. I don't know that, you know, it's not objective to short right here. It's more objective to short on the downtrend. Microsoft. Microsoft's like, look, is kind of one of the stronger ones, I would say. It's been one of the stronger charts for sure. I can't really make a divergence on that one. Maybe slight negative, you know, equal high. It's definitely been one of the stronger ones. And yeah, so, you know, I am going to probably have this one. I wouldn't want to short this one. Let's just put it that way. So that's, maybe there's a little more work to do. And obviously Microsoft is important because it's, I think, the number 2 in the market, right behind Apple. Not enough to go off there on the daily chart to tell me anything. Let's look at the weekly, just bigger picture stuff. I mean, you have divergence on the weekly. You know, we're making a new higher high there. But again, if we keep going up, we'll burn through that divergence. So I can't quite say that's a clean enough sell signal. Apple, back down. Let me go back down to the daily chart. And Apple's got this potential downtrend line right here, very similar to Google, coming off those recent highs. So if you know, just mark that out, and that's kind of what I'm watching, is this potential, is this downtrend. We've got a reaction at it so far, you know. Oh, sorry guys, trying to grab the right tool. There's a reaction, and so watch that. That would be the area that I'd be really most focused on. And is it divergence? Let me check. Yeah, it is. I mean, you still have, you have the high. The last high in momentum was right there. There's your high in price. We made a slight, I can't actually, it's kind of equal high in price right there from that former high. Less momentum. Again, no sell signals. We just don't have enough to say it's time to short. So that's what I want to make clear. It's just not clear enough. I'm looking at potential setups right now. Don't quite see enough to take action on. NVIDIA, clean and clear negative divergence on this one. There it is. This has been building for a while. So there's another, you see the high. Look, you had a former high right here, and this one just popped it by, like, I don't know. This thing's pretty expensive, so it's a couple bucks, but that's nothing for NVIDIA. Just popped it. It's a divergent high, and the selling has started. They've already started to sell into it. From that divergent high, it's down, what, 7%. Support on this one is this uptrend line coming off of the October 2022 lows. All right, there's support. There's another reaction right there. So no major sell signals. Need to take out that trend line for the next major sell signal. We don't have that yet, so watching there. And Meta. And Meta, clean and clear negative divergence as well. All right, we're continuing to diverge. It's just, you know, that's a divergent high, and they're selling into it, started to sell into it. So all right, so that's the Magnificent Seven. So what I would say is it looks probable we're going to get a down leg or a down move. I'm not saying like the next leg down in the bear market. I think that's probably where we're at now, but again, it's not actionable quite yet to start shorting again, although there are definitely some setups. So we'll watch that. Maybe it's got a little more developing to do. All right, so let's go to the what you guys want me to look at. Oh, and then the other one I do want to cover, because I still really like it, guys. Is this wheat? It still looks really good to me, and I'm long this. Full disclosure, I do have a long here, down maybe 7-8%, 6%. But again, if you guys have been trading this thing with me for a while, we caught really good trades right in here. I got both of those longs. I didn't short it, but I got the long. I got that long. So, all in all, as I've been focused on this, I'm profitable, just not on the current position, but that's okay. It still looks like a very bullish setup. Bullish divergence on the momentum. All right, that's been building and building and building. So you have a very large bullish divergence, which means that usually you get a large move out of that. There was this bullish falling wedge pattern, which we broke out of. And the largest part of the wedge, actually, yeah, it's roughly here. We'll just go right about there. And then you take that from the breakout point, which was there, and that sets wheat for a move up to about 930, probably about 950, because there's resistance there. So that would be the measured target, and from where we're at right now, it's a monster move of roughly 64%. So I like that. That's the trade right now that I see, and it still looks really good to me. We've been back testing for a while, so you break out, back test, try again, hit the 200, they reject it, back test, back test. It's just, we undercut these lows recently too. If you can zoom in, let me try to clean this up as I kind of go. There was kind of the most recent lows. We undercut them by a day or and then boom, the buyer stepped right back in. So that looks like a bear trap, and it looked good. And the one reason that I stayed in this trade, even though the ETN has been selling off, and especially right here, the ETN was selling off, and I told a subscriber, I said, and they were kind of feeling like the trade was a bad trade, and I said, obviously the trade could be bad, but it still looked good to me, and mainly because the futures. The futures, you can see the wheat futures. On that day the ETN was selling off, the futures still looked within acceptable, within a range. So nothing looked bad. Kind of at resistance now. Need to break a little bit higher to really break out, but I think we're going to get it. The divergences tell me that. So yeah, I still like that one. All right, so let's go on to these other ones. GDX, I did cover the future. I covered the so GDX coming up to some resistance. Again, gold bullion is at resistance right now. So I think we'll probably get a day or two pullback. I mean, it's just programmatic, right? The algos say, oh, at resistance, sell. That doesn't mean the buyers aren't going to be there to buy that up, but I think you probably get a pullback. Maybe not, though. Who knows? Because we've been testing. Gold bullion has been building really strong support, and we've been knocking at that resistance for years. So it's going to break out very likely sooner or later. Pretty soon, I think. But and then, so GDX, Newmont's a big part of this, so I did cover that. But look at the momentum. The main takeaway that I really want to look at this one is I've kind of got it marked. Look, there's no divergence. You've got, there's your former high in price, former high in momentum, so we're not diverging there. We're making a new high here and new high in momentum. So it just shows that the uptrend is strong, it's intact. So I believe this one is by the dip. That's what I would say. And we don't have a definitive uptrend yet. We've got, maybe we can look at this. We don't only have 2 data points. So we can't say that's an uptrend yet, but you know, maybe you have something like an upward channel. I don't know, but I'd be interested in buying dips. So if you pull back and you get some sort of a reaction here, you know, that would be objective to go long there, you know. But I can't make that as support yet because I only have 1 and 2 data points. So, you know, 3 would give us a definitive, you know. So look for reactions that will help you, you know, with clues that, okay, this is support, and it's very likely, given the momentum is strong, that we're in an upward channel, and I want to buy at support. All right, so that's that one. And then obviously watch gold for a breakout. UNG. This one I'm not in this one. You know, you'll want to watch the futures, but yeah, it's not. Look, you had bullish divergence right here. Actually, no, I take that back. This is where you had bullish divergence. It showed up. All right, so there's a low, and there's a new lower low in price, higher high in momentum. So that was a divergent low. So was that one, and so was that one. All right, so those are divergent lows. If you bought those divergent lows, you actually did catch little rallies, and actually they're decent rallies. They're 26%. You know, I'm using logarithmic scale, so it doesn't look like as much as 15%. There's a 30%. Nope, but we never got that breakout above that like $8 area that I kept saying that was your next buy signal, your next objective, you know, buy signal, and we never got it, and now we're just breaking down. So I don't, you know, it's only going to go so far, but yeah, it's not my favorite. I'd have to look at the futures to, well, we can look at the futures. Futures still look constructive, but for me, it's a pass right now, guys. And even if I was going to trade this, it's small positions on this kind of stuff. Natural gas is the Wild West. Okay, so moving on. NEO. All right, so car stock. All right, so we got some bullish divergence. There it is on the daily. You'll see it building. Earnings coming up, so yeah, I don't know which way it's going to go. But we have bullish divergence, so if I had to guess, I'd say it's going to move up on earnings, but that doesn't mean it moves up right after they announce. Sometimes they'll announce, they'll gap this thing down, and that's where the buyers are sitting at. So you never know if it's going to do that and then maybe that, or if it just gaps up. I would prefer to wait till after earnings, clear that out of the way, and then see where where everything is sitting at. But we do have some bullish divergence, no buy signals. And so I don't buy just because I have divergence, just like I don't sell or short just because I have like a negative divergence. I just merely start to pay attention, and then I look for setups. Hey, Short Fridays, appreciate the super chat. Let me take a look at yours. XPO. I don't even know what this one is. Okay, transportation, trucking. All right. It's benefited because fuel prices have come down. You're building negative divergence. It's been building for a while. It's very obvious here. You've got divergence keeps extending. So again, that's why I say, just because you have divergence doesn't mean you want to short or negative divergence. That's merely an indication to look for a sell signal. So again, I would look for a sell signal. Right now, you don't have a very clean and clear trend line. Yeah, that's the best I can do. I only have 2 data points. So this, there's no sell signal, and there's not even a clean trend line. Maybe you're going to pull back, hit this, bounce, put in some sort of a trend line to evaluate. Until I had that, I wouldn't be comfortable shorting this on a larger time frame, you could go down to the hourly and look, making new highs while diverging. So this one has a little more work to do for me to say I want to short it. What I'd want to see on a short, although I would be looking for a short, but it's not there yet. I think you'd probably come down, react. All right, now you've got a trend line to look at, and you'd have negative divergence. And at that point, I'd be looking for a sell signal, which would be a break of that trend line. But as of right now, that trend line's not even established, so I can't make a case to short this. I wouldn't be putting new long money to work just because it's diverging. If you are long, I'd probably just trail stops. Because this could continue higher. I think you're probably going to get a pullback in the short term down to here, but that doesn't mean it happens tomorrow. There's nothing indicates right now that this is going lower to me on the daily chart. If I go to the hourly, and this is what you'd want to do if you're, looking at shorter term time frames on the hourly. You can see we're diverging here on the hourly. All right, and again, there's no real trend lines to make that, so yeah, I would not short this, and I would look at trailing stops and just, it's moving up. All right, so that's that one. I covered wheat already. SQM. All right, let's see here. So I've got some resistance right in that area. Let's see here. Looks like there's something going on recently. Bullish divergence on the RSI. Slight bullish divergence right there on the PPO. Just slight, not a ton. But you do have some divergence here that's been extended. Downtrend line. Looks like a breakout and a buy signal to me. That's what I'd say. Breakout and buy signal on Friday. That's a buy signal. So, you can, to me, it'd say I'd want to go long or buy pullbacks to support. Potential, that looks like a trend line right there. So, I'd want to buy pullbacks to support, which that looks like support. And this is likely going to trade up to some resistance right there. So that would be in the next, $60. You probably get a pullback there. You could run up to the 200. Yeah, looks bullish. You got big, this is that blue line, so that somewhere right in there is probably big resistance around 65, 60-ish in the 200. So that's where I'd be looking at this thing trading up to it before you get, and then if you break above that, that's another buy signal, as long as you don't have divergence. Okay, that's that one. Jets, I covered Amazon already, so we'll do the travel stocks. That was your buy signal, or your breakout was on this gap up right here on the November 14th. There's your downtrend line. You have bullish divergence here on the RSI. You didn't really have it in the PPO, so kind of mixed. You don't have to have it, but you did get the break. You do have a breakout and a buy signal there. Yeah, looks bullish. I'd want, buybacks, back to support. Now, recognize if the triple Q starts rolling over, these might run for a little bit longer, but eventually they're all going to follow the triple Qs. You're not going to see the big tech stocks selling off and then stocks like these doing okay. It just is not how the markets work. But there's the uptrend that I'd be watching, and it's likely heading up to the 200-day. All right, that's that one. NVIDIA, covered that one. Crispin, CRSP. Or I don't know what that one is. CRSP. Can't quite make that as a downtrend line. That looks a little cleaner. All right. So that, I would say that's your downtrend. And yeah, that looks like a breakout. I'd want to be buying pullbacks to support. You could get a pullback to the trend line. All right, you know, I could see that coming down, and that would be probably an objective long at that if you did get that pullback. Not sure why the buyer stepped in on Friday, just probably because the market, you know, the market's pretty tight range. I don't know. If you could get that, that's what I'd be looking for. And then obviously if it fails and breaks down, and they do get squirrely when you come down to key levels because the market makers run stops, so you can break and recover and you can kind of chop around, so got to give it a little room sometimes. Moderna. I'd say this is our downtrend. Let me just adjust this. Yeah, right about there. Downtrend in Moderna. You see earnings, it was a divergent low. The buyers stepped in and bought it. So you're probably heading up to this trend line, but it's still in a downtrend, so I don't see any real momentum is lower. So I don't see any indication that that downtrend is going to change. I see a downtrend where you'd want to short at resistance. You know, this thing's pretty extended. I don't like to short things after the trend's well established, but there is no divergence. But I like to, when you have I like to get in earlier, before a trend is long in the tooth. But I don't see any indication that this downtrend is going to change anytime soon, as of right now. All right. LMR and NWA. LMR, what's that one? Lockheed Martin? I don't know what that one is. This is a penny stock. LMR. Honestly, I don't really usually give, excuse me, a lot of analysis on these. There's just not a lot of data, and one little earnings report can completely throw off the charts. So I'm not going to give any analysis on that one. And then NWL must be this one, Newell Brands. Okay, well, we've got a downtrend. Let me see if I can actually make a trend somewhere, I guess, right in here, right about there. All right, so we've got a downtrend. We have no divergence. Well, you do have a little divergence. All right, so look, there's a lower low, but you made a lower low in momentum. But that low, your momentum's starting to move up. All right, divergent low there. Okay, and that was it. You got one divergent low, and boom, it's rallying. So it's not really an objective long. But could run up to this trend line. That's all I would see on this one, is maybe a move up to the trend line, and that would be it. That's probably about as bullish as I'd be willing to be on that until, you know, and if we're up there, then we'll see. But yeah, not a long I'd want to take, especially right here. You're in the middle of the range. It's not objective. If you took the long down here, you could just trail your stops. But here, all right, zoom. All right, Short Friday, I'll get to your other super chat here in a second. Appreciate that. Thank you. Zoom. That's a divergent low here. It's another one. So this thing's been diverging, bullish divergence for a while. Divergent. Divergent low, divergent low, divergent low. No real buy signal though. What we'd need to see, because we've been kind of just basing. You can see it's just kind of basing and making new divergent lows, but and it's a big range. I mean, you look at the range, that's what, 20%. So that's the nature of this stock. Looks to me like right there. All right, that would be my next level of resistance on this, which is about 74-ish. You see a definitive breakout above that, then we could probably consider that a breakout. And then at that point, I think you probably head down to this trend line, which is not a solid trend line because I only have 2 data points, but it's the best we can do. So something like that, boom, before you get another pullback. No buy signal though. Again, I'd want to see that breakout. So that's a zoom. So Short Friday, thanks for the super chat. What are your thoughts on a lot of selling that happens last 3 weeks of December for tax losses? I mean, that's priced in, you know, for the most part. The things that move markets are, one, technicals, you know, the algos. You know, most trading nowadays is done by algorithmic trading. It's programs that, okay, and so programs have to follow rules, right? It's computer programs. You have to, someone writes the logic and the rules, and then the programs execute. Well, so most trading is done by programs, so they use mathematics. They screen scrape headlines, things like that, but they use a lot of, it's technicals, right? So that's why what you'll see is, you'll see the charts will typically react to the technicals, and then the news agency will slap some headline on, and people will say, "Oh, this is why the stock went down." A lot of the, like, you'll even see it in real time on earnings. If, like, let's say Google or somebody comes out with earnings, and the market hasn't necessarily the stock didn't go up or down, you'll see on CNBC they'll say that Google earnings are out. You know, they won't take a position. They won't take a side of like, oh, things are bullish or things are bearish. They'll just say, oh, earnings are out. See what traders are reacting. You know, see how they're reacting. And then if the traders decide that, oh, that's bullish or oh, that's bearish, and the stock sells off or goes up, then CNBC will slap on a bullish headline or a bearish headline. They'll tell you why. They had no clue why. When it originally came out, they wait for the traders to tell them which direction, and then they'll just slap some headline on as to why. And so that's why you can never follow the news like that. And in general, that stuff's priced in. The tax loss selling, it's priced in. So I don't have any anything there. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to do a few more, and I'm going to wrap up, guys. I'm probably not going to get to all of them today, but for solar. This one I gave up on a while ago, but we let's see here. Objective short right there for sure. You know, you got some bullish divergence showing up on the daily now. There it is. So these are divergent lows. So yeah, I could see this continuing a little higher. There's my resistance. I just moved that out, and it's about 162.60. Till you see a breakout of that, then it's, you know, there's no buy signal. But you break out, you're likely heading up to the 200-day. This thing can get really gappy too, so you might just see some news thing and it just gaps right to the 200. It's pretty choppy. But I think the bigger picture, it's in a downtrend. So downtrends have bear market rallies, you know, and I think we've, you know, maybe it started a rally. All right, so that's that one. Netflix. Netflix is a short that I like, although I think it, oh yeah, it did start to go down, didn't it? So there's, this is what I drew out whenever I talked about this one last. But, you know, so on this one, you've got this rising, it's not really a wedge, but it's like a channel. You had the sell signal right there, all right? And we had negative divergence. Yeah, it was here. I mean, there's your divergence. And then you got the sell signals, boom. Rallied up for a back test. It didn't fully back test, but I wasn't sure if it was going to, because it's such an obvious, you know, thing that usually people will step in early. And we made a equal high and clear negative divergence, bearish PPO crossover, RSI is pointed down. So that just means we've extended the divergence. And, you know, so the backtest is still possible. They could just go back and rally it up and backtest it and keep the divergence intact. So you have to be willing to ride that out. Because again, the most objective area to short would be on a perfect backtest. But sometimes you don't get that. So it's already started to roll over. You know, I here where we're at now, I could see it doing that backtest, or it could just continue to roll over. That's the short term. Excuse me. Longer term, I would say that it will continue to roll over. URI. I was looking at this one. I think it's at resistance. I was looking at it on Friday, actually. I saw it. Oh, no, yeah. So this one, you're making a new high. You're breaking out right now, right there. It is still divergence, but not confirmed. So let's keep an eye on that. We start to see the RSI and the PPO turn back down, then that would indicate that this is a false breakout and a bull trap. As of right now, it's a breakout. So what I prefer to do is wait for it to fail and break back below 492.50. Right. So I want to see these turn down and then a break back below, and that would be a bear trap, or sorry, a bull trap, and then it should roll over and probably go down and make new lows. Well, I don't know about new lows, but at least a minimum, you know, get down to probably here, somewhere right around in here. Or at very minimum, back down to the 200-day, which would be a drop of, 13-14%. Two more, and then I'm going to wrap up. Let's see here. Someone in JK going to town with comments. PayPal. And then let's see here, PayPal. Divergent low down there, false breakdown, bear trap, rally, sitting at what it looks to be resistance. Yeah, so sitting at resistance. I'd need to see some more information on this one, like a breakout above this or something would maybe help. I don't have enough to go off of to say that which, like, I wouldn't take a position on this one. It's not clean enough to me, so. Is Tesla, we can look at Tesla. Let's see here, Tesla. You know, I don't have enough. I wouldn't necessarily short Tesla here. Again, triple Qs is going to be our tell for Tesla. This is going to trade with triple Qs. So again, if we get that island cluster reversal pattern thing, if that plays out, then yeah, this will probably be a short. But I don't have enough to say I want to short it here. I've got downtrend line resistance. There's the trend line. So it's in a bear market. This thing has been in a bear market since November of 21. All right, lower lows, lower highs, continuing to trend lower. We're up near the top of the range, so I think we're probably going to roll over, but doesn't mean it can't go up and hit the trend line again. So no sell signal, not enough to short off of. I mean, in the short time frame, if you want to like mark out, it looks like this is a trend line here on the daily. So that a break of that would probably give you a sell signal, but we don't have that right now. So GameStop's not anything I want to trade. That thing's just been rolling over since the hype train left. Palantir. What's EO? Never heard of that one. Oh, Estee Lauder retail. Looks like a breakout to me. I don't have divergence though. You don't have to have it, but there's no real divergent low there. That is a breakout though. Is this a wedge pattern? It doesn't really look like a wedge. Well, that was kind of a wedge. And then you had the big drop on earnings, which, I mean, I wouldn't short it. Let's put that. I wouldn't short this. If anything, I'd probably want to be long. And you just look for reaction lows to give you those resistance lines. There's one. It's about 147.70-ish. And then get another reaction right about in here when the 200-day, so 175. So those would be my long targets for now. Obviously, you got the gap way up there too, so that'd be a longer term kind of thing, but you got this gap to fill. Again, that's is this a downtrend line here? Nope, not quite. All right, so I gave those two levels, and that's really all I got. Oh, Toll. Someone did this one. I did pop it up when you mentioned it in the comments. Not this one. What is it? Toll Brothers. Yeah, so this is it's decent. All right, this subscriber mentioned this in the comments as a potential short setup, and I agree, it is a short setup. So this one, you've got this upward look, support, reaction right in there. There's a reaction, and that's your sell signal. And then look at these gaps. That's short covering for sure. So the shorts are blown out on this, and we are trading into resistance. We're not quite there, so maybe a little more upside. Let's see how much more upside. 3-4% ish. Could be the upside starting to roll over, though. You can see there's the momentum. It's basically an equal high on the PPO and a lower high on the RSI. So could backtest, maybe not. It's in the area where, you know, but there's no sell signal. There's no like reversal candle or gap down or doji or anything to really tell us that we're done going up. So I would wait for that, you know. So maybe that wants to backtest and then put in that kind of, you know, it's objective to short at resistance if you backtest with negative divergence. So if that condition remains when you're at resistance, or if you get there and you have the divergence, that's an objective short that I would take all day long. Or you could wait, you know, there's two ways to do it. Reject or hit the resistance, take the short, maybe a half position, something like that. Or wait for some sort of a doji reversal candle rejection off that resistance to indicate that the sellers are there. And so that's what I see on that one. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Hopefully there's some value in the video, you know, in the live streams that I'm doing. Guys, I can continue to thank you for your support on the channel, and I will catch you guys on Monday. Take care.